Hi, welcome back. This week I'm making a walnut towel rack for the bathroom. This project was made using reclaimed flooring, which I've already pre-selected for size. Here I'm using my thickness planer to get the boards all looking nice, taking off the old varnish and grooves. As you can see, I've set up a piece of MDF with one straight edge to make all my walnut boards straight on one side. Once I've got that one straight, I run them through again to make them parallel. On this piece of walnut, I'm laying out for shelf brackets. I'm getting both supports out of this one piece of walnut. I use my visor for my wood toning face protector as a guide for the curve. Over to the bandsaw to cut one out. I use this piece to then draw out my second piece. Once they were both cut, I went over to my makeshift table saw bench do-it-all and used double-sided tape to hold both pieces together, cutting them to size at this point. Using my belt sander, I sand to the line. Unfortunately, I think a drum sander is the only tool in my workshop I don't yet have. Here's looking at you, birthdays and Christmas. Now that the brackets are done, I'll put them to one side and it's back to the table saw, do everything, and I'm again cutting down boards. Just to explain, I don't have a bench as of yet. I do need to make one, so the table saw at this point is proving very useful. I'm cutting out 3 pieces which will then be glued up to make shelf bracket supports. They're like squares. I'll explain what I mean in a minute. just to point out that these hand clamps are useless. Okay, so another way to get a straight edge now, and this piece of walnut was larger than the others, so I simply double sticked a long piece of plywood to one edge and ripped it down. This piece of walnut will be the top. I'm just cutting it down to size now. The length of this was 600mm. Now I'm using the random Orpit sander. I sand to 120 grit. Don't judge me, but I got to use my new toy, putting a round over effect on the underside of the top piece. Just using the hand plane now, just to get one of the side brackets nice and flat. I have to apologise at this point. I did the glue up for the backing piece off camera. I got a little upset when things weren't going well at this point, but I persisted and got on with it. Here you can see the brackets now. I chamfered the edges on the table saw, but quickly realised that the bracket was way oversized, so I had to cut them back to a suitable width. Laying everything out gave me a really good idea on how I wanted the backing piece to look. Using my other half now as a third hand, I used an offcut to create the curve I wanted. Back to the bandsaw to cut this out, making a quick relief cut to get the angle. I saved the offcut for the glue up. Back to the sander to fine detail that curve to the line. It turned out better than I was hoping, although it did take some time to perfect. Got to use the new toy again. Doesn't it do a great job at shaping that curve? Oh, sorry. Glue up time, and yes, I did use biscuits. And no, I didn't use the film, it was pants. So apologies for that. I used a damp sponge to clean squeeze out, but after I came back the next day there was a lot of white residue on the timber, which annoyed me a tad, but luckily it came off. I used sandpaper and then a blade from a hand plane, which I used like a scraper. I cut a 60mm piece of OSB to use as a spacer block. This worked really nicely. I laid out measurement lines before drilling any holes, so this all went really quickly. Make sure you use the right headed screwdriver so you don't rip these little screws a new one. My favourite part is always the finishing. You get to enjoy the wood for all its natural beauty, and this did not fail to impress. I used tung oil, just one coat, and rubbed off the excess with a clean rag. Just to point out, I used white spirit to clean all surfaces before I did this. The next day I used wax to seal it all, and it gave it a lovely look overall. I used a keyhole cutter bit in my router to make a place for the screws to sit in, so when it's on the wall it's all hidden. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do comment, like and share. Until next time.